Okay, welcome back. It's been quite a few months since I've made a video, so let's get right to it. So what we have today is the March 2022 issue of ELLE magazine, and you can see here this is the spring flagship. September is the grand flagship for fall, and March is the flagship for spring. Okay, and what my point is, 3/8 of an inch. It's just a shadow of what it used to be. It used to be much thicker. As I've said before, this industry is in a lot of trouble. So, let me first congratulate Nina Garcia. She's doing a wonderful job here at ELLE. As a matter of fact, ELLE has surpassed Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. It's actually surpassed both of them to become the best magazine out of Hearst and Condé Nast. So now there are other magazines both in the US and globally that are better, but I'm talking about the big 8 fashion magazines, 4 from Condé Nast, 4 from Hearst. This is now the top magazine. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So here we have Gigi Hadid. She's been out of the game for quite some time. She had a baby, and it seems she took about a year off for maternity leave, to enjoy her time with her newborn, which is totally understandable. But she's done something to her face, as you can see here. She looks just like Madonna. I mean, the resemblance is overwhelming. She has completely ruined herself, in my opinion. I don't know why she decided to go under the knife, but it certainly appears she went under the knife. Again, I'm not stating that factually, but it looks like it. And to me, she looks absolutely terrible. She looks just like Madonna. Okay, here we have Chanel. This looks like Riley Keough. I'm not sure if it is or not, but it certainly looks like her. Anyways, it's nice. It's a nice advertisement. The photography is good. Doesn't require a lot of analysis, just a good job. And like the olden times, I'm going to keep this at 30 minutes maximum, so these are digestible. So here we have Gigi, and this is a wonderful photograph. These photographs of Gigi were done by Mario Sorrenti, and he's done a magnificent job photographing Gigi here. Beautiful photo. This could actually be a keeper. Right, as I've said a million times before, you can cut these out, and if you were to put them together, you could actually mount it on a wall. That would make a beautiful poster. Here, this is complete garbage. Louis Vuitton is, you see these are almost like flotation devices when you go boating or jet skiing, right? And these horrid soles on these boots. These are like the modern sneaker. These came into fashion about the mid-90s or so. And this is just like ridiculous soles on steroids. This is horrible. This is horrible. Horrible. It's almost, Louis Vuitton used to be a real good fashion house, and now it's getting like Balenciaga. It's just theater of the absurd. There's no way that a woman who wants to be taken seriously would ever be caught in this nonsense. So Louis has taken quite a dive as far as fashion goes. Here we have Dior, and it's beautiful. You have this embroidery, like a brocade or embroidery. This is really nice here, the little lace on the thigh. And what I found interesting was this pea green paper they shot against this. It's really unconventional. You hardly ever see green used as a background paper. So I don't know, I've kind of got mixed feelings on it, but I was just shocked at how much this model resembles Liev Schreiber, the actor. So you have to wonder, nepotism is so rampant in this industry. You have to wonder if she's some type of relation to maybe the daughter of Liev Schreiber. I don't know. Here, this is going to be a little controversial too, and I'm certainly not trying to body shame this woman, but she is absolutely wearing the wrong clothing. She's got sometimes, when women get a little premenstrual water weight. They retain water, and they'll get this little bit of punch there. You just, informally, it's called like a little punch. So this model, and they had the gall to magnify it. I know they're trying to use greater clarity on the purse, but the problem is they've magnified her punch, right, which is absolutely ridiculous. And here we have this dreadfully oversized suit, right, double-breasted. It even still has the tag on the sleeve. It's too long, way too long. This is just, this is okay as far as fashion, but again, I don't see, and again, this is shaming. I'm not trying to shame this woman, but this is just horrible. Right? Now watch the next page. It appears to be the same model, right? But she doesn't have the water retention. That's what I'm thinking is, right? She's lost the water retention, and she's much flatter. Her tummy is a lot flatter. But if you look at her face, kind of looks like the same woman, but this is it's the same brand, of course, Gucci. So it looks like they were photographed at 2 different times of the month, and it's really quite a stark difference. I don't see how this went to print. I really don't, with this little punch here. I would have said, as the editor, I would have said, oh, no. And I don't mean, right, because they're being paid, ELLE is being paid by Gucci, but I'm talking if I were an executive at Gucci, I would definitely approve these 2 shots, but I would have said, no way, absolutely not. That's not going to print. But anyways, it did, and here we are. But these 2, I think, are very nice. Okay, this is pretty terrible in terms of photography. Prada used to be among the very best. Okay, so this negative space, it's kind of working as negative space, and I like the way they pulled the text off the image and put it over here. Left this image unmolested. But look at her face, right? The illumination is all wrong. The illumination is down here on her arms. It's a little bit up here, but her face is, right, it's not illuminated properly. So, I don't understand that. It's kind of horrible. Bad photography. This is garbage. Celine has been garbage for a long time, and it's headed up by Eddie Slimane. He's the chief designer, right, and the chief of creativity at Celine. He's been there for quite some years now, and this is just junk. It's horrible. It's just horrible fashion. The photography is nothing to write home about. So I don't get that. And here we have, and this is the shame of it. This is Kaia Gerber. So Kaia Gerber is modeling for Celine, right? And she's one of the best in the industry. And look what they've done to her, right? Why would you pay a top model and then dress her like this? It's just trash. So Celine is now, it holds a position that was once held by Isabel Marant as the worst advertiser in the business. So that's not something you want to be known for. It's the worst. Okay, here, this is low-key photography. And it seems here there's been some Photoshop on this model. They've pulled her completely into silhouette, right? And this is probably, I'm sure there was some spill, right? This is a very tight grid. They probably have a, 20, 30 degree grid on the strobe. It's firing, and of course, I'm sure there was some spill onto this model's face, and they just went into Photoshop and just took it completely into silhouette, and it's beautiful. Actually, it's a beautiful image. And here, this is like really museum quality here, right? Look at the silhouette, the figure, right? That is just absolutely beautiful, and they have the jewelry highlighted. Okay, so in Photoshop, they've done the same thing. They've taken this image completely into silhouette. I love this choice of paper, this parchment, really nice. But again, you have a little bit of rim lighting here on the forehead, nose, mouth, chin, beautiful rim. Everything into silhouette except the jewelry. And the same here, right? This is all low key, and it's just beautifully executed. Again, we talk about the X-Acto, right? That can be You could put that on a wall and frame it. It's that nice. Okay, here we have, I think this is Kim Kardashian, right? It's a nice shot. Very well done, right? Sexy, but not vulgar. There's nothing vulgar about the image. Here we have, I've noticed this color. This color is really popular now for a paper. People are using this cream or beige or parchment. It's really in fashion now. I mean, it's probably the number one choice for paper right now. You know, I told you these photographers, they jump on these bandwagons. So right now, this cream, beige, taupe, parchment is all the rage. So we'll see how long this lasts. Here, this is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Here, this isn't anything to write home about either. Again, I question the quality of these models. As I've said, I believe personally it was Anna Wintour who took us from a merit-based system in this fashion photography to a cronyism and nepotism-based industry. And it seems like all these models in these two photos are either, again, I harp on this quite often, is daughters or nieces of these big moguls who've made, big donations to the Met, right, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And therefore, Anna Wintour, she pulls some strings to get these, right? It's absolutely a back-scratching, quid pro quo, nepotism, cronyism-based industry. And again, I ask you to look at these models, and if you ran a modeling agency and they walked in, would you put them to work? I certainly wouldn't. I can tell you that. Okay, here's Michael Kors. This is kind of cool. What doesn't make sense in this photo is this is a wide angle, okay? So we've talked about a sweet spot of a wide angle being the center part that gets distorted the least amount. And as the lens starts to curve on the radius, stuff on the edges get blown out the most. That's where you get the most distortion. So this makes sense. In this lower right corner, you can see how long this leg looks. Totally makes sense for a wide angle. But the problem is here, these bricks, you should get like a pin cushion and the barrel distortion and pin cushioning, right? One is concave and one is convex. So here, the leg is making sense, but you're not getting any barrel distortion or pin cushioning in the brick, and there should be. So how can there not be that going on, but you're getting this distortion in the leg? And the same up here, there's no curving of the space, right? A wide angle lens will curve space. So you should see these windows starting to curve, and it's not happening. So it's kind of weird that the distortion is happening here in the leg, not here, and not in the brick, right? Especially here in the brick. But anyways, I was just kind of fascinated by that. Okay, this is really nice. Both of these photos are nice, but the one on the left looks like a heavy influence of Annie Leibovitz, and right, it's got a real Annie Leibovitz feel to it. Now, if it was Annie, it would be a little more underexposed, right? And the clarity would be pulled a little to the right. And it would just be darker. It would have this pall, this like sense of mourning all over that photo, right? Her photos, Annie's, are literally dark. And they're kind of spiritually and emotionally dark. But what I'm saying here is there's a feel of Annie Leibovitz on this photo, but it's not her post-processing work. So it's kind of weird like that. Okay, this is really beautiful here. Again, we talk about embroidery and brocade. This is a really heavily embroidered fabric. Beautiful choice of paper with these, right? And look at the agreement in the colors and the families of the colors. You've got reds and oranges and browns, and they're all like in the same family. And look at the agreement in the color. Just really beautifully done. The fashion editor was definitely talking with the set designer, right? Because they said right? I'm sure the fashion editor said, here's the background I want you to create for this outfit, right? And so there's harmony. So you can tell the two are talking to each other to create this photo. Again, the fashion editor and the set designer working in harmony, and it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, this is, I think, Vince Ferragamo. Now look at, this is really crazy. The women are dressed fairly well, but look at this. It almost looks like a Navy diver who's forgotten his, like, bottom part of his diving suit. That's absolutely horrible. That is horrible. But the choice of paper is good. I like that. The choice of the red paper really works well with these with the clothing. Okay. Nice. Now look at the females, how they're dressed. Wonderful. You almost have like a little Islamic thing going on here with the hijab. Kind of like a hijab. Right? But this, horrible. Horrible. And then again, the women dress beautifully, but the men are dressed horribly. I don't see how they could miss with the different genders. This is Moschino, and it looks like it was photographed by Steven Meisel, because Meisel was doing this for quite some time. And this has been running now 4 or 5 years. So I'm sure he shot these a long time ago. These have probably just been in storage, and they're rolling these images out over the years. But that's a medium format sensor. There's no way that was done with 35 millimeter or full frame. It's just too much space, the sense of space and the clarity, the lens quality. It's a big medium format system with real clean glass. And you've got this incredible image here. But the thing is if whoever photographed it, whether it's Meisel or not, missed focus. There's nothing in this image that's in focus. So I don't know how in the world somebody photographed this and missed focus. Completely beyond me. Speaking of Isabel Marant. So Isabel Marant was absent in these magazines for quite a few years, as is Sam Edelman and Stuart Weitzman. Those two were excellent advertisers. They were top shelf, really wonderful advertising. But Isabel Marant is back, and it's garbage. This is really horrible photography. This is Gigi again. Wide angle, you can tell here. Right, it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's fairly well executed, but nothing to write home about. This is cool here. Right? Nice. Doesn't require a lot of analysis. Just really well done. Bella Hadid, sister of Gigi Hadid. She's got too much. Okay, I get it. It's kind of bichromatic, meaning two colors, blue and white. Okay, that's the theme, blue and white. But she's got way too much jewelry on here. This is kind of silly, right? And it's just overdone. If they would have dialed back on this jewelry, this could have been really well done. But again, they do it with Zendaya too. Zendaya has way too much jewelry on when they photograph her. Okay, and this is cool. I wanted to point this out. So Guess, you can tell just by looking at these models. Look at the quality of these models. Absolutely stunning models. Voluptuous, curvy, the best, facially beautiful women. The best in the business, bar none. But here, what's different, this is Paul Marciano. He's doing a cameo. Almost what Alfred Hitchcock used to do in his movies. You know, Alfred Hitchcock always had a little cameo. And here, I really give Paul Marciano a lot of credit, because this is the first advertisement I've ever seen where he's putting himself in the ad in a little cameo. It's like a gentleman just reading the newspaper or whatever. But again, my highest praise to Paul Marciano and Guess for using the very best models to be found. Okay, this is cool. This is a series of photos. and when I get to this gentleman's name, I'll give you his name. But I believe he was a Brazilian architect. So what they've done here, and another reason I congratulate Nina Garcia, is they've paid, right, for this kind of editorial to go on location to all these different buildings from this architect. And they got permission to shoot in all these different buildings. So just imagine all the coordination that took for somebody to pick up a phone and put all this together. This was quite a task. So whoever was involved with that, I give them really high marks for putting this together. Here's Gigi again for Givenchy. Right, you can tell there's a little, I don't know if they, well, it might be in post, or they could have flagged. They could have used a gel and then put a flag on the top of the gel, so you get this pinkish, then it transitions to the normal color. It could have been done in post. I don't know how they did it, but it's kind of cool. But my point is, if you look at, I would challenge you to, and again, I'm not trying to be unkind to Gigi Hadid. She's been the queen of modeling for 12 years. I think she started right about 2010, 2011, but she was at her prime in 2011. And honestly, and I'm not trying to be unkind, she's been kind of right on a slow decline since 2011 when she peaked. And look at her now. I mean, it's like a Madonna. It's just, she has no self-awareness. If she had any self-awareness, she would think, oh my God, I'm just not up to this anymore, and I need to step away gracefully. But here she is. She's still at it. She's ruined herself. Okay, this is really cool. You're going to see a series of these photographs, and it's like street photography. And it reminded me as I go through these, I don't think it's going to be in this episode, because I'm making these in 30-minute segments. But you're going to see a strong hint of Vivian Maier in these photos. When I looked at these, it really had a strong resemblance to Vivian Maier. But again, these are coming up, as is these are a series of architectural photos. Okay, that's coming up later. But here we have, this is Rianne van Rompuy, the Dutch model. She's out of Amsterdam. And I've told you before, she has never been properly dressed. She's never been properly made up. And she's never been properly photographed. But since I said that, maybe a year ago, she's been in two photo shoots, two campaigns where she really looks good. And this is one of them. This is the best she's ever looked. And again, her name is Rianne van Rompuy. And she has been kind of like, she's taken back seats to Gigi and Bella, and then Kaya Gerber. So, a little bit further behind in the grand scheme of things, there's Rianne van Rompuy. And I think her name is Tiffany Hill. I think it's Tiffany Hill. But anyway, she was modeling for Ralph Lauren for a long time. But this one here, Rianne van Rompuy and Tiffany Hill, never got the exposure and recognition as Gigi, Bella, and Kaya Gerber. So she looks wonderful here. They finally learned how to dress her. They finally learned how to do her hair and makeup. And they finally learned how to photograph her. And the one thing I want to say is she has a very high hairline, and it looks a little unnatural. She shows a lot of scalp, and she has a receding hairline. So what the fashion editor did here is he or she was aware of this receding hairline. And the way they dealt with it, they put this skull cap on her to hide the receding hairline. They put a crimp. Her hair is very straight. And look what they've done here. They put like a crimp in it. They used a crimper. And it's fantastic. It's beautiful. And I want you to see the choice of colors. Again, when we talk about a fashion editor being in sync with a set designer. Now here, this is not a set. It's done outdoors. But what I'm saying is they scouted this, and they intentionally chose a wardrobe to be in agreement with the background. So here you have, looks like some brick, right? Some old-fashioned brick and the grout work in between the bricks. You have greenery and you have grass or lawn. And look what they've chosen. This is in harmony. Even her hair is in harmony with the brick, the skull cap. And then you have the green in harmony with this greenery here. So all this is completely in agreement. And what that means is right? Again, the fashion editor got with the photographer or whoever scouted this location, and they agreed that, hey, these should be the colors of the clothes to match the location. And it's wonderful. From doing your homework. And again, I just wanted to show you that Nina Garcia is the editor-in-chief of this magazine. And she is just doing a wonderful job with ELLE. As I said, she has now surpassed Vogue and Harper's Bazaar as the best magazine in the business as far as the big A. Here we have Kendall Jenner. And this is again bichromatic, so the color scheme here is an off-white, almost approaching a light gray, and this blue. So you can tell she's in this blue. The purse, the shoes, right? The clouds, the sky, everything is this light gray and blue, bichromatic. And it looks wonderful. The only thing is the text is too big. If they would have pulled it down here, just here, Jimmy Choo, reduce it in size, and not even let it, right, molest the purse and the bag. Just not even put it over the strap. Just right here, and it would have been a fantastic job. Okay, this is wonderful here, like this Spanish-inspired clothing. Really beautiful. Okay, we got the boyfriend shirt going on over here. But the problem is, usually with the boyfriend shirt, there's kind of the model is nude underneath the boyfriend shirt, right? So it turns it into an implied nude. So a woman covers her private parts just with the boyfriend shirt. But you can clearly see here there's a bra strap showing, right? And that's not how you use a boyfriend shirt. So somebody definitely, there was a miscommunication there about how to properly use a boyfriend shirt. Okay, this is cool. I don't know who this model is, but if you ever watched the movie Rock of Ages from 2012, it was a great movie with Tom Cruise and Russell Brand, Alec Baldwin, right? It's about rock and roll. But anyways, the woman who played the reporter from Rolling Stone, I believe it was, her name was Malin Ackerman, the actress in the movie. And this model here looks remarkably like Malin Ackerman. But it's a beautiful shot. Really well done. Excellent work. Okay, here I'm going to show you some images. And the reason I'm showing you these is, I don't know, some of these look like they were shot through a gel. But I want you to notice how the paper, the background paper, is agreeing with the subject, right? So you have like a fashion gray in this. They're agreeing completely. Now it's not the same color, but they're agreeing, right? They're complementary. Here you have all blue. It's working very well. Okay, you have gray and black working very well. Then you have these reds with this specular highlight. It's really working. So whoever shot these did really a marvelous job shooting these objects. Let me get these strips of paper out of the way. And here we have, it is so remarkable. This is Kaya Gerber, daughter of Cindy Crawford. And when I first saw this photo, I thought it was Cindy Crawford. So look at the resemblance between mother and daughter. It's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Here, this has been running for quite a few years. And this, again, we get back to agreement. It's a Burberry, right? This is this scarf or whatever this is here. This is a Burberry pattern. And you have it, it's basically a brown and a white and a black. And the colors of the Burberry are being repeated in the bag. Brown, white, and black. And in the shoe, brown, white, and black. So whoever, the fashion editor who put this together, did a remarkable job. And this has been run now for it's been running 3, 4, or 5 years. I keep seeing this reappear ever so often, and I can see why. It's just a marvelous photo. Okay, and I'm going to end it here at this because we're at 30 minutes. But the reason I don't like this is the photographer used a wide-angle lens and got too close to her face. And you can see here, I'll show you. So this is the same woman, and you can see how the compression of like a telephoto puts things in a natural perspective for portraiture. But here it's a wide angle and it's distorted her face. Okay, this woman's face has been distorted, and they're using this pea green paper in the back, and I've kind of got mixed feeling on this pea green. I don't really think it's working. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I just particularly don't care for it. It does kind of go with this orange, but this is kind of unflattering. And again, you never do this. You never get too close with a wide angle when you're doing a portrait, because this is what happens. You distort the model's face. Okay, so again, it's been quite a few months, and I thought I'd get back to this, and I'll make a part 2 and a part 3 if necessary. And I thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.